friends, welcome, welcome. This is Julie Tillman, and today we're going to be making a slatted sign card. It kind of looks like a little sandwich board, and it has these little slats. And I saw it a while ago on a short, and I've always wanted to try it, so I thought that hive piece would look great on it. We're using the Sweetest Honey paper pad and the Sweetest Honey ephemera, and those are from the April Paper Pad Club of the Month. And then we'll be using some sentiments from the April Stamp of the Month. And to make this card, you just need a 4¼ by 11" panel of white cardstock, and then we're going to be using that flower print with the blue background and then the yellow plaid. I'm starting out with an 8½ by 11" piece of cardstock, and I'll cut that at 4¼ inches on the short side, like a top folding A2 card base. And then I'm going to slide that down just a little bit and cut at 4 inches so that we have a 1/4 inch by 11" strip. And then I'll rotate that 90 degrees, and then we're going to cut 4 inches off of that 11". So we have a 4x4 square, and then we're going to cut that square into 4 1-inch strips. Okay, now that we have those cut, we're going to take our remaining panel and we are going to score it at the 5½ inch mark to make our card base. So we're going to have 1½ inches on one side and 5½ on the other. And then once I score that, we're just going to fold and burnish that. And I'm going to burnish that really well and kind of fold it both ways and burnish so that it really has a nice fold there. Now that we have all our pieces together, we're going to take that first 1/4 inch strip, and we are going to align it to the card a 1/4 inch in from the side, and we're just putting adhesive on that very top part, and we're about 1/2 inch up from the flap and a 1/4 inch from the side, and then we're going to cut the excess, and then we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. And I am just using my glass mat as a reference to kind of eyeball this positioning here, and you just want to get the adhesive right where it's going to meet up with the flap. Then we're going to take the next 1-inch piece, and we are going to line that up with the left hand side of our strips, and it's going to hang over the edge, and that is just totally fine. And we're just going to repeat that 1/4 inch gap. So I put adhesive on just the left side, and then I lift it up and I put adhesive on the right strip. And now we're going to repeat that in the opposite direction. So we're starting from the right edge and going towards the left. And then we will alternate one more time and go down 1/4 inch and put that from the leftmost facing edge. And then I'm going to take that fourth 1-inch piece, and I'm going to put it on the top there, and that will kind of level out our top piece. And then I'm going to cut off the excess of that other strip, and we'll pull out our pattern paper. I'm going to line the inside of the card with a 4 by 5½ inch piece of the yellow plaid paper. And I'm just going to stick that down with some adhesive. And then we are going to take our burnishing tool and burnish that really well. At this point, you have a little decision to make whether you want to make your card just 4 inches or if you want it to be 4¼ inches. I want mine to be 4¼ inches, which is the usual A2 width. So I'm going to leave a 1/8 inch overhang on each side. Next, I'm taking the floral pattern and I cut it down to a 4-inch wide strip, and then I'm cutting a 1.5-inch strip and three 1-inch strips to cover those slats. And so that 1.5-inch goes at the top, and then we'll line up our three other panels. And then I'll put a little bit of adhesive on the back, and I'm going to add just a little bit more, just some scraps of white there to level that out at the top. And if you wanted to, you don't have to use the white cardstock for the slats. You could just use pattern paper, but I kind of like the solidity of having the double layers of cardstock. It just makes it not so flappy when you open and close the card. So these are going to overhang just a little bit, and we'll just trim those off after we finish laying them down. So now we've finished basically the assembly. We just need to cut off those excess little bits on the slats. And then we're going to move on to the decorating stage, which is always my favorite. There's our little hive, and I think I want to add it on dimensionals, but I want to make sure I'm a little bit strategic about where I place those dimensionals so that it doesn't end up in between the slats so you see it when you open it. So I'm trying to hide all of my pieces underneath the ephemera piece. And I just love the way this card looks. It just seems really cool that it, like, you can kind of see through to the bottom, but there's like stuff hiding back there too. So I just had a lot of fun with this ephemera too. I really enjoy this hive piece. I made a little double check and made sure that I couldn't see my adhesive dots, and we are good to go. And now I'm just going to put a little adhesive on that honeycomb piece just in the middle and tucking it under that hive. And now I want a circle sentiment, this just because, and I want my bee to be in yellow, and I want it the exact same color as the rest of the card. So I'm going to just partially stamp that bee, and I'll add a little BG10 marker to the wings just for a little hint of blue. And then I'm going to fussy cut that little bee, just the body. We can leave off the antenna and the wings because that's already on our stamped piece. And then I'm just going to run my black marker around the edges to cover any white bits, and then I'll glue it right down, piece it onto that already stamped piece. And then I'm going to cut that with a circle die. I think it was a 2-inch circle die. And then I just want to pop it up right there in the corner. And oh, it's just so cute. I love that bee. So cute. So I'm just making sure that that is level by placing my dimensionals on the two different slats. And then I think I want that butterfly right there over where the branch ends. And then it gives like a nice visual triangle to bring interest to the card. So I'm just gluing that down. I put dimensionals on just one side and then adhesive to lay it over the hive piece. So next I'm just cutting a 1-inch panel that I can stamp my inside sentiment on. I want it to hide behind the slats, so I just cut it down so that it would fit. And then I'm going to add the sentiment, a sweet hello to you, in the center of this panel. And then I'll add the little bee from the stamp set on the left side, and then the little butterfly with its little butterfly trail on the other side. And I just love the way that looks. I think that it gives it a nice little whimsical feel with the butterfly and the bee on either side of the sentiment. Next, I'm just going to pull out a Y11 marker and color in that little bee, and then I'll bring out the BG10 for his wings, and then I'll use BG13 and BG11 to do just a little simple shading on that butterfly. And so now I'm just going to bring in a little bit of a dark gray for that butterfly body. And I just love that. So now I don't want that ink to smear, so I'm just kind of taping it a little scrap of paper over it. So when I lay it down on that slat, I can add some glue, and then I can fold my card over onto it and have it placed directly behind that slat. And so I just press that down. So I just wanted a little extra framing. So I'm just bringing in a permanent marker and just doing a little dotted frame. And I thought that went well with the little butterfly trail and kind of finishes off the card. So that is our slatted card. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'd love it if you'd smash the like button and leave me a comment if you like this video. Product links are in the description box below. Just click more to expand the box. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.